Within the vast teachings of Buddhism, the concept of the three marks of existence stands as a fundamental framework for understanding the nature of reality. These three marks, impermanence, suffering, and non-self, serve as profound insights into the nature of existence and offer guidance for a deeper understanding of ourselves and the world around us. In this video, we delve into each mark, exploring their significance and the wisdom they impart. Let's start with the first mark, impermanence. In the teachings of Buddhism, impermanence stands as a fundamental truth that permeates every aspect of our lives. It is the understanding that all things, both tangible and intangible, are in a constant state of flux. From the cycles of nature to the passing moments of our lives, impermanence is an undeniable aspect of our existence. Impermanence teaches us that nothing remains the same. Everything arises, exists for a time, and eventually ceases to be. This profound insight invites us to embrace the impermanent nature of the world and all its manifestations. Rather than resisting change, we are encouraged to develop a deep appreciation for the present moment and the fleeting beauty that surrounds us. By recognizing the impermanence of all things, we are reminded of the preciousness of our own lives. Each passing moment becomes a unique opportunity that will never be replicated. This understanding invites us to let go of attachment, to release our grasp on what cannot be held. It teaches us to find peace amidst the transitory nature of the world. Embracing impermanence offers profound implications for our well-being. It encourages us to live with a sense of urgency and mindfulness, fully engaging in the present moment. We begin to cherish the beauty of a blooming flower, the warmth of a loved one's smile, and the simple joys that life presents us. Moreover, the recognition of impermanence helps us navigate the challenges and difficulties that arise in our lives. It reminds us that pain and suffering, too, are impermanent and subject to change. This understanding fosters resilience, as we learn to ride the waves of life with greater equanimity and acceptance. Now, let's move on to the second mark, suffering. In the teachings of Buddhism, the recognition of suffering as an inherent part of human existence serves as a crucial starting point for understanding the nature of life. Buddhism acknowledges that suffering encompasses not only physical pain but also the mental and emotional dissatisfaction that arises from craving, attachment, and the constant desire for things to be different than they are. Buddha emphasized that understanding suffering does not lead to despair, but rather opens the door to liberation. It is through recognizing and acknowledging suffering that we gain the opportunity to transcend it. By understanding the causes and nature of suffering, we can break free from its grip and experience a more fulfilling and harmonious life. One of the primary causes of suffering, according to Buddhism, is attachment and craving. We become attached to people, possessions, and experiences, often seeking to hold on to them indefinitely. However, this attachment and clinging create a sense of longing and dissatisfaction, as the impermanence of all things becomes apparent. The craving for things to be different than they are leads to an endless cycle of desire and disappointment. The path to liberation from suffering lies in cultivating mindfulness, compassion, and wisdom. Mindfulness allows us to be fully present with our experiences, observing and accepting them without judgment. It helps us develop a deeper understanding of the impermanent and ever-changing nature of existence. Compassion, both for ourselves and others, plays a vital role in alleviating suffering. By cultivating empathy and extending kindness to ourselves and those around us, we create a supportive and nurturing environment. Compassion encourages us to alleviate the suffering of others and to work towards a more just and equitable world. Wisdom arises from deep contemplation and insight into the true nature of reality. It involves seeing through the illusions of permanence and separateness, and understanding the interconnectedness of all things. With wisdom, we gain clarity about the impermanent nature of life, and we recognize the futility of attaching our happiness solely to external circumstances. Finally, we come to the third mark, the non-self nature of all conditioned phenomena. In the teachings of Buddhism, The concept of the non-self nature of all conditioned phenomena challenges our deeply ingrained belief in a fixed and separate self. It challenges the notion of an unchanging essence or soul at the core of our being. According to Buddhism, our identities and experiences are not the result of a permanent and independent self, but rather arise from ever-changing conditions and causes. The realization of non-self is a transformative insight that liberates us from the illusion of separateness. It invites us to examine the nature of our existence and question the notion of a solid and enduring self. Through contemplation and practice, we come to recognize that our thoughts, emotions, and physical bodies are impermanent and subject to constant change. This understanding of non-self does not imply a negation of personal identity or the denial of individual experiences. Instead, it reveals the interdependent and interconnected nature of all things. We are not isolated entities, but rather interconnected threads woven into the vast fabric of existence. By embracing the concept of non-self, we cultivate a profound sense of interconnectedness and interdependence with all beings and the entire universe. This recognition dissolves the boundaries that separate us from others, leading to the development of compassion and empathy. We begin to understand that the well-being of others is intimately linked to our own well-being, and that our actions have far-reaching consequences. The realization of non-self also frees us from the confines of selfish desires and attachments. When we let go of the notion of a fixed and separate self, we become less consumed by self-centered pursuits and more open to the needs and welfare of others. Compassion naturally arises as we recognize that we are all interconnected, sharing the same fundamental nature of impermanence and interconnectedness. In conclusion, reflecting on the three marks of existence, impermanence, suffering, and non-self, invites us to embrace the impermanent nature of reality, to understand and transform suffering, and to dissolve the boundaries that separate us from one another. It offers us a path to deeper wisdom, compassion, and liberation. Thank you for joining me on this enlightening exploration of the three marks of existence. May these profound teachings inspire you to embrace impermanence, alleviate suffering, and recognize the interconnectedness of all things. Remember, as we navigate this ever-changing world, these truths can guide us towards a more awakened and fulfilling life.